The Kansas City Chiefs' very own Rashee Rice is back in trouble. He's now serving 30 days in jail right now in Texas because he tested positive for THC, which is marijuana, which is a direct violation of his 5-year probation that he got from the high-speed chase in Dallas back in 2024. Now he will officially miss the Chiefs OTAs and mandatory minicamp, which is June 9th to June 11th, and Rashee Rice's release date is June 16th, 2026. So Rashee Rice is back in trouble once again. Like I said, this time he is serving 30 days in jail for a probation violation for THC, which is marijuana. And I just have to say this is a very unfortunate situation. It's a terrible situation for anyone to obviously have to go through what he's been going through in this time. But also, I just want to say, because he's so talented, and I'm sure this is I know this is a cliche, but it's true. And I've always believed in this cliche, honestly, because it's true. It sucks, and it is extremely unfortunate, so sad, to see talent go to waste. It's an awful thing to see. And I know how talented Rashee Rice is. I know how talented he is. I know what he has the potential to do in the NFL. The potential is there. The talent is there. It's just he can't seem to shake the trouble off. And I don't know what he's going through behind closed doors. I don't know what he's going through personally, or what he's going through, at home, or what he may be going through mentally, or where he may be at mentally as far as a mental space, or I don't know the things that he's going through. No one knows what anyone's going through. People can come to work smiling every day, be the brightest person in the room, but little do you know they're going home and they're crying themselves to sleep at night, or they can't go to sleep at night because they're up thinking about something, or whatever the case may be. So it's just something like that. And I don't know what he's going through personally. I don't. But I can say this, from what has been provided to us and what we know, is that obviously the crash happened back in 2024, the hit and run crash. And he served a 6-game violation for that. And now he follows that up with a 30-day jail sentence for the THC. It's just really unfortunate because the Chiefs have, in my personal opinion, the Chiefs have done a lot for him that a lot of teams probably wouldn't have. And I know that's probably obvious, but if you guys don't know, one thing that teams in the NFL don't like, or really any sport, honestly, one thing, and I always say this, with any sport, any NFL, NBA, boxing, you name it, the one thing that will always make you less valuable, always, is problems. It will always make you, it don't matter. Now, like my guy Shannon Sharp always says, if your production is outweighing the problems, like if your production is up here and your problems are maybe somewhere down here, okay, maybe you're still tolerable, but problems will always put you out on that ledge to the point where if that production drops, or those numbers slip, or you start losing fights, if you're a boxer, something like that, soon as that happens, instant drop you, because you gave them the reason when you start having problems, but then you also justified it by you're not bringing in the money or the production or the things that they want to see from you. And the Chiefs, I feel like, have stuck with him through this. Like they when he had that crash, at one point in time, even though I know how talented Rashee Rice is, just being honest with you guys, I thought he was going to get released. I did, because of the publicity of that situation, what happened, the crash, and him it being kind of like a hit and run thing. So it was with that whole thing happening, I thought, and especially following up, a couple years ago with the Henry Ruggs thing, I thought that it was a great chance that they probably release Rashee Rice. I really did. But they stuck with him through that. They said, you know what? The situation is bad. Yes, but we're going to stick with you through that. You serve your 6-game suspension and you come back. And they stuck with him through that and allowed him to still be a Kansas City Chief into his career, even after the trouble and the stuff he was going through off the field. And I'm talking about, if you guys don't remember, he was getting criticized from every possible source, every possible outlet was criticizing Rashee Rice for what he did. And I can't say it wasn't undeserved, because if you do something wrong, you deserve to be punished for it, and you deserve to. I don't even know if you deserve to, but you're going to get the criticism and pushback from it. I always say that. You make a decision, you're going to live with the pushback and criticism from it. It's just what it is. It's just it's kind of deserved. But they stuck with him through all of that drama and through all of that mess he was going through. They stuck with him and they showed faith in him that we'll stick with you through this. And on the other side, this will be better. Other side, this will be better. It'll turn out better. This will be a good decision that we decided to keep you on the team. And they showed faith in him on that. And the one thing that I always thought about that situation is the thing that just happened now. He's not walking necessarily on thin ice, but he is in a way of this. When they decided to stick with him and keep him on the team, if I was someone close to him or around him, and I don't know what his team around him or people around him are saying to him and, giving him advice for, but if I was around him, the main message would have been, okay, we cannot get into any trouble anymore. We can't get a parking violation. There is nothing that we can do, because they already went out on the ledge to keep you on this team. They already went for that when they really didn't have to. So we cannot get into any trouble or give them any reason to think that you aren't taking this chance seriously. Not a parking violation, not a spitting on the street violation, not a citation, nothing. We cannot get into any trouble. Nothing. If I was him, if I was, his team around him should have been a thing like this. We ain't even going to let you drive. We got a driver for you. We pay for a driver wherever you want to go. They'll drive you to. We ain't even risking that. We ain't even going to risk that or getting a ticket or anything like that. We got a driver for you. We're going to make sure we are walking a straight narrow line to make sure that nothing goes wrong or nothing looks like that. We're taking this opportunity for granted because they already stuck with you and showed faith in you when they didn't have to before. So let's make them right on that decision. Let's train harder than ever. Let's be the best that we can be. Let's show up punctual. Let's present ourselves in the best way possible so that they know that keeping Rashee Rice was a good decision. He just made a one-time mistake. But stuff like this, testing positive for THC, having to go to jail for 30 days, stuff like this, it weakens their view of it, because now they're like, we stuck with him through that, and he didn't even take it seriously. I don't even know if this is if this is Rashee Rice's mindset or what happened, but I'm just letting point out to you guys and being honest, letting everything be what it is. This is how the Chiefs, in my view, are probably looking at it. We gave him a chance to stay on this team, and to pay us back, he tested positive for THC. So it means he didn't take the first time seriously. So we paying him millions of dollars, and he not even taking the opportunity that we kept him on his team and we didn't have to seriously. So what's to stop him from, when he gets out of jail, What's to stop him from getting in trouble again and not really caring? What's to stop him? That's how they're probably looking at it. And I'm not saying it's right, but that's what they're probably looking at it as. And you have given them the reason to look at it as that. You have given them that reason. Perfect example. I will always circle back to this. I love Antonio Brown. I do. Antonio Brown, people forget now, but Antonio Brown was such a good wide receiver and player of the game of football. He was so talented as far as what he can do on the football field. It was insane. His work ethic, if you go talk to anyone whoever had the chance of being a teammate of Antonio Brown's, they'll tell you about his work ethic. And Ryan Clark talked about it on the Pivot podcast, talked about his work ethic and how he would always run when they would do kickoff, how he would always run all the way back to the end zone when you didn't even have to do that. His work ethic was off the charts and his production was there. All of that. He checked off all the boxes. But he started getting in trouble. He became expendable. Because, once again, like Shannon Sharp always says, when that production slips or drops or is no longer there, then the problems start to become a lot louder. See, when you going for 1,900 yards, 1,800 yards, a problem or two can be tolerated. A problem or two, okay, that can be tolerated. So you had a little speeding ticket, okay, a little speeding ticket, a little citation, okay, those things, okay, a little off the field drama, okay, a little at practice freak out, okay, those things can be tolerated. They can be tolerated. We'll still give you this max contract. Those things can be tolerated. But when that 1,800 starts to go to 800 yards, when that 1,900 starts to go to 900 yards, when them 12 touchdowns or them 20 touchdowns start to go to like 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, when that starts to happen, them problems start to get a lot louder. And then the team starts to wonder, well, the production ain't there no more. So what are we really losing if we get rid of you? What are we really losing? The production ain't there no more. So what are we losing? And you have given them and AB, as much as I love AB gave them the fuel throughout the course of his career. I'm not saying that he was wrong in this instant, or I don't know what was going on. I wasn't there. I don't know what was going on. But he gave them the fuel on multiple occasions, the NFL, to shift him out the league. And that's what they did. Rightfully so. And that's what Rashee Rice just did. He gave the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't know if they will, he gave the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL to, start to shift him out the league. He took a major chance right here. And listen, understand the opportunity that you have. Look, throughout the course of his career, this is Rashee Rice already, the stuff he's done. Already won a Super Bowl. Some players never do that, bro. Like, you already won the Super Bowl. You play on a team with Patrick Mahomes. Like, understand the opportunity that you have. Okay, won a Super Bowl. They stuck with you through the suspension. Through your career, excuse me. Through your career, already got 14 touchdowns, almost 1,800 yards. You right at 1,797, so that's pretty much 1,800. Then let's go to the money part, okay? Let's see how much money you made throughout the course of your career. Let's go through that. Okay, the money in your career. Your total contract value was $6.49 million. It was a 4-year deal signed in 2023. Your signing bonus, you made $1.74 million, paid up front when you signed. Then in 2023, $2.47 million signing bonus plus rookie salary. 2024, $1.4 million base salary while on IR recovering from his ACL injury. Then in 2025, made about $926K because he lost about $420,000 with the whole 6-game suspension and stuff like that. Now, let's look at the money that he's lost over the course of his career. Suspension loss, like I said, once again, over like 420,000, somewhere around there. Medical restitution for the Dallas crash, 115,000. Unsportsmanlike conduct fines, 13,000. So you make a lot of money. You make millions, but you're starting to lose money too. So be smart with this opportunity, bro. Because listen, football, and I know this is a cliche, but football or sports or whatever is not going to last forever. It's not. What do you have lined up after football? What are you investing your millions in now to where you don't, when football is over, you ain't gotta worry about nothing no more? What are you doing to take those steps? And I'm not saying that to say I'm perfect or anything like that. No, I'm not. But nobody is. If they say they're perfect, then they're lying. None of us are perfect. Only person that's perfect is God. Or only, perfect person is God. So none of us are perfect. We're human. But what do you have in line to make sure that these things are no longer a concern for you? What are you going to do after football? If the Chiefs cut you tomorrow, what are you going to do? And no team picks you up, which I'm sure a team will take a chance on you. But if no team does, what are you going to do? We got to make that $6 million that you were going to get over your contract, or however much you've earned throughout the course of that contract. We got to make whatever you got of that $6 million last for the rest of lifetime. Life goes on. Understand the opportunity that you have. This opportunity that you have, you play with, in my opinion, you play with the best quarterback in the NFL. You play with Patrick Mahomes. Do you know how many receivers would kill to play with Patrick Mahomes? Just because of the situations and the opportunities that he gives his receivers and people that play with him, the chance to win a Super Bowl, or the chance to have a career year, or the chance to get a new contract, or the chance to do these things. The stuff that, like, you play for Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a genius offensive mind. Genius. Andy Reid's offensive mind it's off the charts, bro. Like, it's amazing. You can ask anyone who's ever played with Andy Reid. He's simply a genius. Do you know how many players don't have that? Look at players who go through head coaching changes and offensive coordinator changes and this change and that changing, and they got to worry about, well, who going to be my coordinator next year, or who going to be my quarterback next year? You don't got to worry about that. Yeah, so what? This year they might have to play with Justin Fields for a little bit. Justin Fields ain't bad. Justin Fields has actually had the experience of being a franchise quarterback before, so he plays for a couple games. What's the worst that can happen? He plays for a couple games before Patrick Mahomes comes back, and back to business as always. So you know how many receivers and players would kill to have the chance to play with Patrick Mahomes and with Andy Reid and with the Chiefs, and had that loyal fan base of the Chiefs kingdom behind you. Like, just understand the opportunity. I'm not saying that you can't rebound or bounce back from this mistake. Yes, you can. We all can bounce back from mistakes and rebound from mistakes easily. That's what we do. That's what God allows us to do. But I'm just saying, you're in a very bright light now. You're under a heavier microscope than you already were. So you can't get into anything else, bro. This has to be the last thing that happens. The rest of the stuff you do, make the headlines for something good. Make the headlines for, oh man, we went out and we fed the needy today, or we went out and we gave clothes out to underprivileged kids, or I'm starting a foundation for people that struggle with, alcohol addiction, or I'm starting a foundation for people that do this, or I'm starting a foundation for people that, struggling mentally, or I'm starting a foundation for NFL players that may need adjustment to being a marketable player in the NFL, or managing their decisions. I'm starting something where players can actually have someone to talk to when they're feeling like down, or when they're feeling depressed, or when they're feeling like this. Make the headlines for something positive. Because if these negative things keep hitting the headline, and you keep facing your team with this, in the NFL with this negative press, just being honest with you, it's not going to be too long to where you're going to be out of the NFL. Just being honest with you. Because you're making the NFL look bad, and it's nothing for them to just cut off a bad leaf than them trying to maintain you in the league, and you're just making them look worse. So they'll just cut off the bad leaf and move on. So just be smart, man. Listen, while you're incarcerated, think about everything that happened, and think about how you can be better, and how you can take this situation and learn from it, take something positive from it, and move on and try to be the best person you can be. Because I know you have the talent to be one of the best receivers in the NFL. I know you do. This is not where you're supposed to be. Being in headlines for this is not where you're supposed to be. So take this time to get right, rehab, and get back to what you love to do, which is playing the game of football at a high level. So let's get back right, man. But I wish him the best of luck. But